Hi, I'm Gruenke, founder of The Balanced Runner, and I've been helping runners from beginner to Olympian improve their form and performance since 2003. And I'm here today with another stuck-at-home running form tip from my living room to yours, helping you use this time as an opportunity to become a better runner. And today's question is, should you breathe through your nose when you run? And the short answer is yes, but you know me, I've always got a longer answer. So let's talk a bit about that. Before I go any farther, though, let me tell you that I'm putting a lesson in the description below, which will help you free your diaphragm to work better when you run. It's a lesson that has a myriad of benefits. So I often put it in my description to help you with whatever I'm talking about. This is definitely one of the great benefits of it. So go get that. It's a lesson to work on your core action. And be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Click the bell to get notifications and hit like because I already know you're going to like this video. So I recommend nose breathing for most running. And this is something that I've become more educated about in recent years. Yeah, the short answer is nose breathing for most running. It's okay to breathe through your mouth for more intense efforts, as long as that is not every time you go out the door to run. And the reasons why, so I have to address this from a running form or running technique perspective, right? Because that's my area of expertise. And so I am not a respiratory medical professional, and I am also not a running coach. And what I'm going to say bears a little bit on both those fields. But I'm going to mostly tackle the running form side of this. And so running form, to me, includes using your diaphragm well and organizing your whole body so that you can use your diaphragm. And so in this series of videos that I've been doing on breathing, I have talked a lot about organizing yourself to use your diaphragm best. And when you do that, your running technique or your running form is also excellent in all the other parameters that it needs to be. There's just one good running form, basically, and it works well for all things, including breathing. And it will help optimize your breathing. But one of the benefits of breathing through your nose is it recruits your diaphragm more than breathing through your mouth. So you're more likely to chest breathe. And I'll just stand up for a little bit of demo here. So now I would just breathe through my nose because I don't like breathing through my mouth very much. I see. But chest breathing. And you're more likely to do that if you're breathing through your mouth. When you breathe through your nose, there's more resistance. It creates more suction, and that recruits your diaphragm more to pull the air down into the deeper part of your lungs, which are wider, which have more alveoli and more blood vessels to carry that oxygen to your muscles. And so that oxygen to your muscles. And so you are better oxygenated if you're using your diaphragm more. And you will do that if you breathe through your nose more than if you breathe through your mouth. And so that's a very strong reason for breathing through your nose as much as possible. And if you're not used to that, it's going to take some adjustment. But you definitely can get there. And you'll get there a little more easily if you look at yesterday's video on the right head position for good breathing, because that opens your airway back here. And so regardless of whether you're breathing through your nose or your mouth, you'll be able to get more air in when you're running if you follow that advice. So I'll put that link below as well. So the other reason that I, as a running form teacher, recommend nasal breathing is that in my experience, most runners run too hard too often. And people usually come to me with injuries. So that's, maybe 5% of my clients over the past 18 years have come to me just for help with performance, and the other 95 because something broke down. And I can always tell, looking at them move, why the stresses created by their whole body working together resulted in injury in that spot, whatever it is. But I have also learned that the question, why did you get an injury at all, is a completely different question. It has nothing to do with breakdown, how the stresses are, how force is being transferred through the skeleton, et cetera, and creating hotspots of stress due to your movement. It has to do with an imbalance of stress and recovery. So, nobody moves perfectly. And if you are not breaking yourself down faster than you can rebuild, then you are not so likely to break down at your weakest link. You could have bad luck. You could, have a collision or something and be in an accident, but you're unlikely to get an overuse injury if you're getting enough sleep and if your training is such that you're recovering and building yourself back stronger. But if it's not, and you are digging a hole a little deeper every day, that hole is, of course, going to be at wherever the weak spot is in your form. So if you are breathing through your nose when you run, that's a strong brake on you being able to run too hard, too often. And it's going to reduce your overall injury risk. So I feel really strongly about this. I mean, it's just completely clear after all of these years that I would have a lot less business, or at least, a larger percentage of my business would be just improving performance, and there would be fewer broken runners if we all recovered better, got enough sleep, and didn't overtrain. So no one really likes to hear this, but it has to be said. There is another benefit to breathing through your nose, and it's sort of out of my field, and because I know how much I know about movement, I know how much I don't know about other fields. So I'm just going to direct you to the best book that I have read on breathing for runners, and that's The Oxygen Advantage by Patrick McKeown, and really encourage you to take a look at that to get some of the other benefits of not over breathing and how that actually gets more oxygen to your muscles and not less. So again, you have to go through an adaptation period, but trying to get more air by opening your mouth and breathing harder actually results in oxygen being held more tightly in your blood and not getting into your muscles where it's needed. So breathing less so that more carbon dioxide can build up actually allows the oxygen that's in your blood to get into your muscles. And that's what you really want. But get professional advice on that from a good book or more. So again, The Oxygen Advantage. So I have said that I recommend breathing through your nose for most of your running. For more intense efforts, you can breathe through your mouth when it becomes necessary. And that's even built into how your whole body works when you're running faster. So I've talked a tremendous amount about your forward lean when you run, how important it is to lean forward, with a lengthened spine the classic phrase, lean forward from your ankles, with then your face forward. And your lean is speed dependent. So the faster you're running, up till sprinting, at which point different mechanics are at play. And I'm not ever talking about sprinting when I do these videos. But as a distance runner, the faster you run, the more you lean forward. And the more then, as you lean forward, let me see, and move your face forward more. So you're leaning less, your face is not as far forward. You're leaning more, your face is more forward. So these tissues lengthen. The more you lean forward and move your face forward, the longer this gets, the more you run, or the less you lean, the more loose and soft. So when you're leaning a lot and this is more stretched, then the pull to open your mouth becomes stronger. And at that point, you're probably running fast enough that it begins to make sense to open your mouth. So it's kind of built into the system. If you're running more slowly, Your lean is maybe barely perceptible. Your head is only forward just a little bit, and it's no trouble to keep your lips together, your tongue on the roof of your mouth, and be breathing through your nose and still have a nice open airway. So that's how that all fits together. So I'll finish here, except for questions. I see that there's my good friend Adelino is here with a question. My good friend who I've only met through YouTube, but I really appreciate the questions. Agrees with me about the book. And it says, so for you, 3-2 nose breathing is a good sign that I'm in the right pace or effort. Well, I can't answer that, because right pace or effort for what? Like, what? I can't answer that because I would need more context. And B, I can't answer that because I'm not your coach. I'm not even a coach at all. And I also don't weigh in on training plans because it's not my area of expertise. So I'll talk a little bit tomorrow about this 3-2 business, how many footfalls to breathe in, how many footfalls to breathe out, because that's a running form issue. But I would say in general, to my thinking, if you're in a zone where you can breathe through your nose, that's a good sign that you're not overdoing it for regular everyday running. The Wild Blue Angel says, what about the talk test? Johan, hi. The talk test may be that's a classic way to gauge intensity of your workout. If you can have a conversation while you're running, then you're not making an intense effort. You're not running too fast. But it doesn't meet these other criteria of recruiting your diaphragm. And, if you take seriously, what Patrick McKeown says in the oxygen advantage, and that's the Buteyko method, which as a Feldenkrais practitioner, I've been hearing about for a couple of decades. So that basic body of information is not new to me and has a great track record of effectiveness. If you're talking while you run, then actually that's a lot of air going in and out. And so you don't get this benefit of letting the carbon dioxide levels rise in your bloodstream. And you're not necessarily using your diaphragm the way you would be if you were breathing through your nose. So talk test works for intensity, and it can be nice to go out running with people. During lockdown, I've been running with my little boy, and we've been chatting, and it's been very nice. But I do feel a difference during and after those runs where I'm talking, that there's something very different happening in my body and in my breathing than if I were running silently and breathing through my nose, which is much more comfortable. Psychum Sport, not sure how to say your channel name, but anyway, you're welcome for the videos. Yeah, this is video number 49, I think. So I'm gonna, maybe this is as a good segue to say that as lockdown is easing most places, and people are getting back out and about, more of their normal activities, and have less time for watching YouTube, I'm gonna start scaling these videos back starting next week. So this will be my last week of daily videos. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to time it next week. I'll do some, but not all of it. So the deluge is about to slow down here. Oh, Sam, you're very sweet. You're very sweet. Well, I've really been enjoying doing them. And I'm not going to stop making YouTube videos. It's just going to be less. That's all. All right, so we'll wrap it up here, guys. Thanks so much for coming. Pleasure chatting with you, and I will see you again tomorrow.